So the next topic is acquisition of subsidiary. There are two acquisition scenarios that need to be considered more in detail. One is mid-year acquisition, second is step acquisition. The name itself is very clear. Mid-year acquisition, a parent entity consolidates a subsidiary from the date it achieves the control. This happens partway through the reporting period, when then it will be necessary to prorate the results of a subsidiary so that only the post-acquisition income and expenses are consolidated into the group statement of profit and loss. Step acquisition. Step acquisition occurs when the parent company acquires control of a subsidiary in stages. This is achieved by buying a block of shares at different times. The acquisition accounting is only applied at the date when the control is achieved. Any pre-existing equity interest in an entity is accounted for according to IFRS 9 in case of financial instrument, IAS 28 in case of associate and joint venture, IFRS 11 in case of joint arrangement other than joint venture. At the date when the equity interest is increased and control is achieved, first, remeasure the previously held equity interest to fair value. Secondly, recognize any resulting gain or loss in profit or loss for the year. Third, calculate the goodwill and non-controlling interest on either the partial or full basis. For the purpose of the goodwill calculation, the consideration will be the fair value of the previously held equity interest plus the fair value of the consideration transfer for the most recent purchase of the share at the acquisition date. The following pro forma will be useful: fair value of previously held interest plus fair value of consideration for additional interest plus NCI, non-controlling interest at acquisition date, less the fair value of net asset at acquisition. The net amount will be goodwill at acquisition. If there has been remeasurement of any previously held equity interest that was recognized in other comprehensive income, any change in value recognized earlier are now reclassified to retained earning. Purchasing further shares in a subsidiary after control has been acquired, for example, taking the group interest from 60% to 70%, is regarded as a transaction between the equity holder. Goodwill is not recalculated. This situation is dealt separately further in this chapter or in this topic. Now, disposal scenarios. During the year, one entity may sell some or all of its shares in another entity, causing a loss of a control. Possible situations include: first, the disposal of all the shares held in the subsidiary means 100% disposal. The second, the disposal of the part of the shareholding, leaving a residual holding after the sale, which is regarded as an associate, means from subsidiary you are now becoming an associate. And the third, the disposal of part of the shareholding, leaving a residual holding after the sale, which is regarded as straight investment, means from subsidiary you are moving to simple investment. The accounting treatment of all these situations is very similar. So the disposal is complete 100% disposal. Second is from subsidiary you are becoming associate. Third, you are becoming from subsidiary you are becoming simple investment. Now, disposal in the individual financial statement. In all the above scenarios, the profit on disposal in the investing entity's individual financial statement is calculated as sale proceed less the carrying amount of shares sold. The net amount will be profit or loss on disposal. The profit or loss may need to be reported as an exceptional item, so it must be disclosed separately on the face of parent statement of profit or loss for the year. There may be tax to pay on this gain depending on the tax law in place of the parent's jurisdiction. This would result in an increase in parent's company tax expense statement of profit and loss. Now, disposal in the consolidated financial statement. if the sale of shares cause control over subsidiary to be lost, then the treatment in the consolidated financial statement is as follows. Firstly, consolidate the income and expenses of subsidiary up until the date of disposal. Secondly, on the disposal of subsidiary, de-recognizes assets, liability, goodwill, and non-controlling interest, and calculate a profit or loss on disposal. Third, recognize an remaining investment in shares of the former subsidiary at fair value and subsequently account for this under the relevant accounting standard. For example, if a holding of 20 to 50% of shares would probably mean that the remaining investment is an associate which should be accounted for using equity method. A holding of less than 20% of shares would probably mean that the remaining investment should be accounted for under the IFRS 9 financial instrument. Where control of a subsidiary has been lost, the following template should be used to calculate the profit and loss on disposal. So it is calculated as disposal proceed plus fair value of retained interest. Together these two figures will be added and a net amount will be there. Less will be the interest in subsidiary disposed of. It is calculated as net assets of subsidiary at the disposal date plus goodwill at disposal date less the carrying amount of non-controlling interest at the disposal date. Net amount will be 1 and it will be deducted from the value calculated above. The loss and a profit will be to the group. Whatsoever will be the net amount. So there is another topic, that is presentation of disposed subsidiary in the consolidated financial statement. There are two ways of presenting the result of disposed subsidiary. First is time apportionment line by line and the second is discontinued operation. The first time apportionment line by line and the consolidated statement of profit and loss. The income and expenses of subsidiary are consolidated up to the date of disposal. The traditional way is to time proportion each line of disposed subsidiary's result. The profit or loss on disposed subsidiary would be presented as an exceptional item. Second, as discontinued operation. If the subsidiary qualify as a discontinued operation in accordance with the IFRS 5 non-current asset held for sale and discontinued operation, then its results are aggregated into a single line on the face of consolidated statement of profit and loss. This is presented immediately after the profit for the period from the continuing operations. Single line figure will comprise of the profit or loss of the subsidiary up to the disposal date, the profit and loss on the disposal of subsidiary, profit and loss of subsidiary up to the disposal date, plus the profit or loss on the disposal of subsidiary. So disposal is of many types. First, it is you have a subsidiary, you lost your 100% control. We will be calculating group profit and loss on disposal. The second disposal will be from subsidiary to associate, means you are losing the control, now becoming an associate. Third is from subsidiary becoming a simple investment. The fourth type of disposal is you have an associate, now that associate is becoming simple investment. The fifth is you have a subsidiary and it is again a subsidiary. You have disposed some shares, but not like that you have lost the control. For example, you have 70% of shareholding, but now you only have 55 or 60%. Now that is still your subsidiary, but there is, what is the scenario? There is increase in non-controlling interest. No control is lost. So the accounting treatment is driven by the concept of substance. So what will be the treatment when there is no loss of control? Means a subsidiary is still a subsidiary. There is only increase in the non-controlling interest. No control is lost. So Sale of shares without losing control. It is a transaction, in reality is a transaction between the shareholder. No profit or loss arises on the sale of shares. Goodwill is not recalculated. So what is the working? You will be following this pro forma, that cash proceed plus increase in non-controlling interest. This figure will be calculated. I will be explaining it. Cash proceed minus the increase in non-controlling interest will be increase or decrease in the other components of equity. Increase in non-controlling interest is calculated. It is net asset at disposal date plus goodwill fair value method only. Then the both amount will be added and a net amount will be there. Then it will be multiplied by the percentage increase in non-controlling interest. The net amount will be the increase in NCI, that will be the part of increase or decrease in OCI calculation. So what is the double entry of disposal in the consolidated financial statement? When control is lost, bank debit, fair value of remaining investment debit, non-controlling interest at disposal debit, credit the net assets of subsidiary at disposal date, credit the goodwill, and the balancing figure will be gain or loss on the disposal. Now there is the example of control to control scenario. There are two ways. Either you are acquiring, either you are disposing. Means you have a subsidiary with, for example, 55% shareholding. Now you are getting 70. Now you are getting additional 10%. Now you are going to be a 65% subsidiary. So it's a control to control scenario you are acquiring. There is another example when you have, for example, 80% shareholding and you are disposing 20% of the shareholding. Now your shareholding is 60%. Now it's still a subsidiary. So control to control scenario means subsidiary you are acquiring, you are increasing your shares, and it's still your subsidiary. And the second scenario is your subsidiary and you are disposing your shares, but still after disposal it is your subsidiary, you are having more than 51% of shares. So share purchase that led to the control over another entity being obtained. Second is share sales that lead to control over another company being lost. However, some share purchase will simply increase an entity holding in an already existing subsidiary. Example, increasing holding from 80% to 85%. Similarly, in some share sale will not cause the entity to lose control over subsidiary, like decreasing holding from 80% to 75%. These are control to control scenario. Now there is two things: increase in shareholding, more shares are required. Sale of shares without increase in shareholding in a subsidiary. On second scenario is sale of shares without losing the control. Now the first one is increase in shareholding of a subsidiary. Example, 80% to 85%. When a parent company increases shareholding in a subsidiary, this is not treated as an acquisition in the group financial statement. For example, if the parent holds 80% of the shares in a subsidiary and buy 5% more, then the relationship remains one of a parent and subsidiary. However, the non-controlling holding has decreased from 20% to 15%. The accounting treatment of the above situation is as follows. The non-controlling interest within equity decreases. Secondly, the difference between the consideration paid for the extra shares and the decrease in non-controlling interest is accounted within the equity, normally in other component of equity. Note that there is no profit or loss arise on the purchase of additional share. Goodwill is not recalculated. The following pro forma will help to calculate the adjustment required to non-controlling interest and other component of equity. Cash paid minus the decrease in non-controlling interest. Net amount will be either increase or decrease in the other component of equity. The decrease in the non-controlling interest will represent proportionate reduction in the carrying amount of non-controlling interest at the date of group additional purchase for share. For example, if non-controlling shareholding reduced from 30% to 20%, then the carrying amount of the non-controlling interest must be reduced by 1/3. Now the second scenario is sale of shares without losing the control, for example from 80% to 75%. From the perspective of the group account, a sale of share will result in a parent retaining control over the subsidiary. Is simply a transaction between the shareholders. If parent company hold 80% of shares of a subsidiary but sells the 5% holding, the relationship of control still exists. As such, the subsidiary will still be consolidated in the group financial statement. However, non-controlling interest has increased from 20% to 25%. The accounting treatment above situation will be as follows. The non-controlling interest within equity increases. The second point is difference between the proceed received and the increase in non-controlling interest is accounted within other component of equity. Note that there is no profit or loss arise on the sale of shares. Goodwill is not recalculated. The following pro forma will help to calculate the adjustment required to non-controlling interest and other component of equity. Cash proceed debit, increase in non-controlling interest credit, and the balancing figure will be increase and decrease in other component of equity. The increase in non-controlling interest will be the share of net assets always and goodwill fair value method only of subsidiary at the date of disposal which the parent has effectively sold to non-controlling interest. For example, if the non-controlling shareholding increase from 20% to 30%, then the carrying amount of non-controlling interest must be increased by 10% of subsidiary net asset, and if using fair value method, goodwill. There is a term that needs to be made clear, that is deemed disposal. This occurs when a subsidiary issues new shares and parent does not take up all the rights such that its holding is reduced. In substance, it is a disposal. चलो तुम तो बोल नहीं सकते ना, दो